Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2022 Honda Odyssey, and we're going to be taking a look at it, and I'm going to show you how to install the CURT Class 3 2-inch hitch receiver. Now, a few of the reasons of why you would want to put a 2-inch hitch receiver on your Honda Odyssey is that if you want to pull a small trailer, you can hook up a ball mount to your Honda Odyssey, hook up to a trailer and pull it on your trips. A cargo carrier to get some of that bulky items out of the back of your car and onto the cargo carrier, or if you're wanting to carry bikes to and from the trail. You can put a bike rack on here, easily carry 4 or 5 bikes outside of the vehicle and get them to and from the trail safely. This hitch receiver is going to come with integrated safety chain loops so that you can get your safety chains correctly hooked up to your vehicle, so that in the occurrence of an unlikely disconnect from your trailer, your safety chains will sit here and pull so that your trailer doesn't go flying down the highway. It will also come with a standard 5/8 inch hitch pin hole that you can insert a 5/8 inch hitch pin into. The hitch does not come with a pin and clip, but most likely, if you pick up an accessory on our website, it's going to come with a hitch pin. The max tongue weight capacity of this hitch is going to be 525 pounds. That is going to be the downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. I can tell you with our experience with Honda Odysseys is that chances are if you're getting up into a higher weight capacity, you might look into getting some rear end enhancement, suspension enhancement, so that it will support the rear end of your vehicle. The max gross trailer weight rating of this hitch is going to be 3,500 pounds. That is the amount that the hitch is rated to pull. That is the trailer plus the weight included on top of it. Now some measurements so you know what you're getting. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of the bumper is going to be about 4.5 inches. You want to keep this measurement in mind if you're looking at an accessory that folds up to the back of the vehicle. From the ground to the top inside of the receiver tube, it's going to be about 14 inches. So if you get an accessory, maybe look for one with a 2-inch rise in the shank. If you have no rise in the shank, it's not that big a deal. Typically, we recommend looking for a rise in the shank once you get to about 12 inches. But since we're at about 14, you should be more than fine with any accessory that you decide to pick up. Now, if you ever plan on towing a trailer with your Odyssey, you're going to need some wiring. With the Honda Odyssey, it's really, really nice. The wiring harness for your 4-pole is designed to plug directly into the back of your vehicle. You don't have to get up underneath, splice anything into the back of the taillights, none of that. It's gonna be right behind this panel inside. We'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see it. To get the wiring installed, all you have to do is pop this panel off. The plug that you're gonna need is that light blue plug right there. You'll have to have attach one ground and put 3 fuses in, and then you're ready to use your wiring harness. If it's that easy to install it, I highly recommend anyone installing one, whether you've pulled the trailer or not, but it's there in case you ever need it to be safe. Now, when it comes to getting this hitch installed, the installation is not very difficult. You will have to remove the fascia, which can kind of seem daunting at times, but it is a big piece of plastic, but it comes off pretty easy. As long as you follow along with me, I will show you every step of the way of how to get that rear fascia off, how to get the hitch installed, and then we will have to do a little bit of trimming on the rear bumper. The good thing about it is sometimes you'll have to trim out up here on the top. This one is on the horizontal face that's underneath, so you'll never have to worry about seeing it again. You trim it, get your hitch fitted on there correctly, and then you're good to go. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pull it in the shop and show you how we did it. To begin our installation, we're going to have several fasteners along the bottom edge of our appearance panel here on the bottom that we're going to need to remove. We're using a flathead screwdriver in order to get them out. Just pop out the center. Be careful prying these out because they tend to break easily if they're older. Just pop them out like that. With all of our fasteners off the bottom, we're going to come up into our wheel wells. We're going to have some Phillips head screws we'll have to remove and a couple of 10mm nuts. Then the 10mm nut that we need to remove is up in here. Now once you have those screws and the bolt removed from the passenger side, you'll move over to the driver's side and repeat that same process. Next thing we're going to do is we'll take some blue painter's tape and we're going to line this seam right here, because when we go to pull the rear fascia off, we don't want this panel hitting this panel, so that'll help to keep our paint a little bit cleaner. Now here on our rear fascia, you'll see 2 more Allen head bolts that we're going to have to remove. We'll use a 3/16 Allen head key in order to get these out of here. Now when it comes to removing the rear fascia, it's definitely good to have an extra set of hands. We have Peyton helping us here. We're going to start by pulling back on the wheel well. And you want to pop these fasteners loose. These are actually coming off pretty easy. If they don't pop out very easy, you'll see this flat portion here. Just stick a trim panel tool or a screwdriver. Just be very careful if you're using a screwdriver. You'll scratch that paint very easily. Pop that little fastener out and it should pop right off. But just work your way up under the taillight, and then those fasteners underneath, they seem to have popped right off. When we pull this out, we're going to look for any wiring that might be there. Nope, no wiring here. So we'll just set this off to the side and get ready to install our hitch. Now what we need to do is we're going to put a strap underneath our exhaust to lower it out of the way. Essentially, the reason for doing this is you can see how close it is to the bottom of our frame rails here. We're not going to be able to get a tool in there to be able to tighten our fasteners. So we need to lower the exhaust. You'll have a hanger here, and then the next one up will be in the center of the vehicle. So you want to put your strap right in front of it and take these 2 off. Put some soapy water on these hangers. It definitely helps to take them off. Get a pry bar on there and try to slide it off. And you can loosen it a little bit with your strap and let it hang. This will give us plenty of room to be able to get up in there and get our hardware in place. Now before we raise our hitch up, we're going to have to remove this panel. We will have 1 more 10mm bolt up under here. We'll take this panel, slide it out. Now even though our vehicle's only a year old, especially if you're installing this years down the road, if the vehicle's 10 years old, since these weld nuts that we're going to be using, there's 3 on each side. They're right here and here and 1 back here. Those are more than likely going to be rusted if you're installing this years down the road. So we'll take some penetrating oil, spray it up in there, and take a toothbrush and clean it out. Even if your vehicle's new, you want to clean them out. Make sure there's no dirt or debris in there, because they can get gummed up pretty quick, and if you cross thread one of those bolts, I can guarantee you it's not going to be fun. Now with an extra set of hands, Peyton's back in here helping us lift this hitch up. You're going to lift it up into place, grab one of your bolts with a conical tooth washer, and slide it into place. Line up the holes, and once you get 1 threaded in each side, they will do the work for you to hold it up while you get the rest of the 4 bolts into place. Now we'll take a 19mm socket and tighten them down. Now we'll come back with a torque wrench, torque all our hardware to the specifications and the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, we have a few of them available on our website, or you can go to a local auto parts store and typically rent them pretty cheap. The next step in our process is going to be to cut out our rear fascia. This is the underneath portion. This is how much we're going to have to cut out in order for the hitch receiver and the components to be able to fit in there when we go to put our rear fascia back on. The measurements are in your instructions, but to basically break it down for you, it's 5.5 inches across and 3.5 inches up. And you need to find the center point. We did find out that these two holes for these fasteners are the center of the back of the vehicle. They are centered on the hitch. So we measured from each one of them, found the center, and then measured 3.5 inches wide, or 5.5 inches wide and 3.5 tall. Now with our rear fascia trimmed out underneath, we'll put it back up into place, clip it all down, put our fasteners back, and then we'll be ready to trim the other appearance panel that we took off earlier. So now we're back underneath our vehicle looking at this other appearance panel. The instructions tell you you're going to need to trim this, but as far as it looks to us, nothing. I've got all these holes lined up and everything's lining up all right. I don't think we're going to have to trim it. So we're just going to leave it like that. That's a good sign. So if you have a lease vehicle or anything like that, you're not going to have to trim this. You will still have to trim the rear fascia, so you want to check with the company, make sure that's okay that you do that. But for this panel, we're not going to have to trim it. So we'll go ahead and get all our fasteners back in. Now with everything properly reassembled on our vehicle, that's going to do it for installation.